Picture this. You're standing right in front of her, just a few steps away. She's smiling, but it's not a warm, comforting smile. No, it's the kind of smile that hides something deeper, a flicker of doubt, a shadow of coldness in her eyes. And then, you speak. Just a few simple words, nothing you'd think could matter. But the second they escape your lips, you feel it. Something inside her shifts. Not outside, not in the room, inside her. A crack forms, a small fracture at first, but it spreads. And those words, those tiny, careless words, they are exactly the ones every woman secretly fears. The ones that make her chest tighten, that make her pull back a little, that linger in her mind long after the moment has passed. The ones that can change everything, without you even realizing it. It's not that the words are harsh. It's not that you meant to hurt her, or that you're being cruel. No, it's deeper than that. The reason those words hit so hard is because they carry the truth. A truth that cuts right through the illusions, the little lies we tell ourselves every day to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel okay. And most people aren't ready to face it. They shy away, they turn their heads, they pretend it doesn't exist. But the moment those words land, the truth can't be ignored. It's raw. It's real. And it shakes her, not because of malice, but because the truth is heavier than anything else. We live in a world where emotions don't just guide us, they rule us. They twist our thoughts, pull at our hearts, and make us act in ways we sometimes don't even understand. In this world, words have become weapons. A single phrase can wound, confuse, or even change everything. And silence. Silence has become its own kind of power, a quiet that speaks louder than any shout. But among all the words and all the silences, there's one phrase, just one. One phrase that has the power to destroy the entire game. And the moment you say it, at just the right moment, in just the right way, she'll never look at you the same way again. Not with anger, not with sadness, but with something deeper. Something that shifts the balance between you forever. The words are simple. I don't need you. No anger. No frustration. No arrogance. Just calm, quiet, unshakable confidence. The kind of confidence that doesn't need to prove anything, that doesn't beg for attention or demand approval. It's not about rejecting her, it's not about shutting her out, it's something subtler, something almost untouchable. It's detachment. And that scares her more than anything else. Because it's unpredictable. Because it's powerful without trying to be. Because it makes her realize she can't control it, can't sway it, can't change it. And that feeling, that tiny flicker of fear mixed with respect, that's the moment she truly sees you, really sees you, in a way she never has before. Her mind starts spinning, like a storm she can't control. Questions rush through her head, faster than she can catch them. Why aren't you chasing her? Why aren't you trying to prove yourself, to show her she's the only one who matters? To her, it feels unnatural, almost wrong, because the world has taught her that men should always chase, that they should fight for her attention, that they should constantly bend and bend again just to earn a moment of her time. But you don't. You stay steady, calm, detached. And that breaks her expectations, flips everything she thought she knew on its head. And in that confusion, in that questioning, she starts to feel something she didn't expect, respect, curiosity, and maybe, just maybe, a little fear of losing you. The frame of value. It sounds simple, almost like just another phrase, but it carries everything. Whoever sets it, whoever decides what's valuable, who decides what matters, holds the power. And here's the thing, when your confidence doesn't depend on her approval, when it doesn't hinge on her validation or her reaction, you step out of the game entirely. You're no longer chasing, no longer bending, no longer trying to fit someone else's expectations. You become a mirror. And in that mirror, she doesn't see you. She sees herself. Her own doubts, her own insecurities, the fears she tries to hide. And suddenly, that mirror isn't just reflection, it's revelation. The psychology of attraction is actually simple, even if it feels complicated. The brain doesn't react to what you say, it reacts to your state, to the energy you carry, to the calm or chaos you radiate. When you're calm, grounded, emotionally free, unshaken by the highs and lows of the moment, you create gravity. You pull without trying, you attract without effort. You don't have to prove anything, you don't have to beg for attention or say the right words. You simply exist, and that existence, that quiet, unwavering presence, it draws her in more powerfully than any "I love you" ever could. Words can be forgotten, promises can fade, but the state you hold, that lingers, that captivates. that makes her think about you long after you've walked away. The habit of needing. It's something most men don't even realize they're trapped in. They live under this illusion that attention equals love, that every compliment, every glance, every tiny sign of interest is proof that they matter. And slowly, almost without noticing, they become addicted to validation. Every like, every reply, every little bit of approval becomes a fix they can't live without. And when a woman pulls away, even slightly, they panic. They lose control. Because their confidence, their so-called confidence, was never really theirs. It was borrowed, taken from someone else's reaction, someone else's opinion. And the moment that disappears, they're left hollow, exposed, scrambling to find something to cling to. When you say, "I don't need you," it's not about pushing her away. It's not about hurting her or proving a point. It's about choosing yourself. It's about taking back control over your own mind, your own emotions, your own peace. You stop letting her reactions dictate how you feel, stop letting her approval define your worth. In that moment, you step out of the endless, exhausting emotional chess game that most people get trapped in. You're no longer moving pieces to win someone over, you're simply existing, steady, grounded, and completely free. And that is far more powerful than any chase, any argument, any plea for attention. Self-assertion. And not the kind that comes from shouting, pushing, or forcing your way through. No, true self-assertion comes from stillness, from calm, from that quiet confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. Real strength isn't loud or flashy. It's subtle. It's being completely comfortable in your own presence, being alone and yet not feeling empty, not feeling desperate for validation or attention. That's a kind of maturity most people fear, because it forces them to face themselves, to measure themselves against something real. And when she sees it in you, she notices. She feels it. And it changes the dynamic entirely, without a single word needing to be said. She feels it, that subtle, almost imperceptible shift in the air between you. Because now, you're no longer predictable. She can't push your buttons the way she used to. You don't react to her tests, you don't stumble into emotional traps, you don't bend just to meet expectations. You just stand there, calm, still, present, completely unshaken, like a mountain that doesn't move with the wind. And that makes her pause, makes her think, makes her question everything she thought she knew about how things were supposed to go. That quiet strength, that unwavering presence, it speaks louder than any words could. And that's when her mind starts turning on her. The psychology of reversed attraction kicks in, quietly, almost imperceptibly, but powerfully. What once felt safe, familiar, predictable, now feels mysterious, intriguing, like a puzzle she can't quite solve. You stop being the obvious answer, and suddenly you become the question, the one she can't answer, can't predict, can't control. And that uncertainty, that tension, it draws her in, pulls her focus, makes her notice things she never noticed before. You're no longer just someone in her life, you've become a force she can't ignore, a presence she can't fully understand, and that makes all the difference. The dark truth of communication. And it's dark, because most people never realize it. Words, they mean almost nothing when your energy, your state, your very presence speaks louder than anything you could ever say. People feel you before they even hear your voice. She doesn't pay attention to the exact words you use, she feels who you are at your core. And when there's no need, no desperation, no push, only calm, steady peace, she's drawn to it, like a moth to a flame. That quiet, magnetic energy pulls her in stronger than any promise, any compliment, any attempt to impress. Because it's real. Because it's unshakable. Because it can't be faked. Mind and emotion. Two powerful forces, always at odds, rarely living in peace with each other. Most people let emotions run wild, letting them dictate every choice, every reaction, every word. But once you learn to control your emotions, to master that inner storm, something shifts. You stop being a pawn in someone else's game. You start seeing patterns, noticing signals, reading the subtle dynamics that others miss. You begin to understand people, their motives, their fears, their unspoken desires. And suddenly, everything becomes clear. The chaos turns into clarity, confusion turns into understanding, and the world, it starts to move differently for you. Women don't fear losing a man. Not really. What they fear is losing control. Losing the subtle power they once held over your emotions, over your reactions, over your need for them. Because for a long time, those emotions, your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, gave them influence, gave them leverage. But now, those same emotions, Those same moments of vulnerability have transformed. They've become your strength. The tables have turned, quietly but completely. And that shift, that realization scares her more than anything else. Because she can no longer predict you, can no longer sway you, can no longer hold power over what was once her domain. That's why these words hit so deep. I don't need you. They're not cruel. They're not rejection. They're something far more powerful. They're honesty. Raw, unshakable honesty. And in that moment, something shifts. Your mind becomes stronger than your habits, stronger than the patterns you fell into without even realizing it. You step out of the old cycles, out of neediness, out of the games that kept you small. And that clarity, that unwavering truth, it resonates. It cuts through illusions, it challenges expectations, and it leaves an impact deeper than any argument, any plea, any chase ever could. You stop chasing validation. No more bending, no more trying to impress, no more performing just to be seen or liked. You stop needing attention to feel worthy. Instead, you simply know who you are, deeply, completely, without hesitation. You choose awareness over approval, understanding over applause. You choose clarity over confusion, presence over pretense, peace over fear. That calm, grounded certainty radiates from you, quietly but powerfully, and it changes everything around you. It shifts dynamics, it draws people in, and it establishes a power far stronger than any words could ever carry. And then, everything falls into place. Like a puzzle finally completing itself, like a storm settling into calm. Love without need, a love that isn't desperate, that doesn't cling, that simply exists and flows naturally. Communication without games, no manipulation, no testing, no hidden agendas, just honesty, presence, and understanding. Attraction without control, a pull that isn't forced, isn't earned, isn't demanded, but simply felt. It's effortless, it's natural, and it's powerful. And when you reach this point, everything changes. The way she sees you, the way she feels, the way she responds, it all aligns, because you've become the person you were always meant to be. True confidence, it lives in silence. It's not about proving anything, showing off, or raising your voice. It's quiet, steady, unshakable. And when you can say those words, I don't need you, with no anger, no bitterness, no pain, just calm acceptance, something incredible happens. You reclaim yourself. You step fully into your own power. You no longer depend on anyone else to define your worth, to validate your feelings, or to control your happiness. And from that moment on, you'll never lose yourself again. You'll move through the world grounded, free, and untouchable. Because here's the truth, the only words that truly matter aren't the ones you say to her, the ones meant to impress, to convince, or to manipulate. No, the words that hold real power are the ones you whisper to yourself, quietly, in the stillness of your mind. The words that ground you, that remind you of your worth, your strength, your presence. I am enough. Right now. Not tomorrow, not when someone else approves, not when conditions are perfect, but right now, in this moment, as you are. And when you carry that truth inside, everything else falls into place. Everything else loses its power, because you've already claimed the one thing no one can take from you, your own certainty, your own confidence, your own peace.